What I have here is to me one of the most beautiful plants that exists on the earth, or at least that exists in my European imagination, and that is lavender. Lavender is so beautiful. Lavender reminds me of my trip to the south of France where there were just fields and fields and fields of lavender. This summer, I grew a very beautiful lavender plant in my yard, and this is just one flower from lavender. In the camera, it looks really blue, but in fact, it's just a gorgeous purple. Hildegard loved lavender as well. This is what Hildegard says about lavender. Lavender is warm and dry since it has just a little moisture. It is not worth a person to eat it, but it does have a strong smell. If a person has many lice, let the person smell lavender frequently. The lice will die. And its smell clears the eyes, since it contains the power of the strongest aromas and the usefulness of the bitterest one. Therefore, it constrains many evil things, and evil spirits are driven out by it. You can see why Hildegard sees that lavender drives out evil spirits with its fern-like leaves, right? Very similar to the fern, and she loved the fern because the fern drove out the devil and protected people from the devil. And I love lavender because the way she talks about lavender as keeping away lice, right? So again, you have plants that have just a very bodily, physical effect on people. They're just there's very practical uses for things like lavender. Keep away the lice. There's a story that goes in the Black Plague in the 13th and 14th century. Europe suffered from 3 or 4 waves of the Black Plague or the bubonic plague, which was a bacteria that made your glands under your arms and your neck turn like big and black, and you'd have these big black bulbs all over your body where your glands were, and it was horrible and it was disgusting, and there was no cure, and you died a terrible, terrible death. And these waves of the Black Plague wiped out about almost half of the European people in the 13th, 14th, and 15th centuries, as well as the 16th centuries. And there's a story that goes that if you put lavender down, the plague was carried by the fleas that were among the rats that lived among the people. And so the story was that if you put lavender down, you would help get rid of the fleas and get rid of the lice that carried this bacteria. And if you kept hay and lavender and different other kinds of herbs on your floors, you would be able to be protected from the plague. So it's very interesting to see that people in the Middle Ages really relied on the power of plants, really this real power that these different kinds of plants have. Today, we seem to rely on the power of pills, right, on some level, the power of vitamins, the power of medicines to keep us healthy and to prevent certain kinds of illnesses, or vaccines. We rely on the power of vaccines to keep away certain kinds of illnesses. So what's interesting here is that when medieval people relied on the power of plants, people like Hildegard also attributed to them a certain kind of personality, certain kind of agency, right? So you have the warm plants and the cold plants, and you have the plants that really do affect your spirit. And I'd like you to really think about plants that affect your spirit. I have discovered, for me personally, lavender really does affect my spirit. I drink lavender tea almost every night. It really calms me down and helps my spirit. And I've also read, I don't know if this is true, that bananas affect your spirit. Bananas give you a positive boost and a good feeling. So there's some way that even in a modern scientific age, we still attribute certain things to foods that help keep our body healthy. And what I hope you see here, and I hope this opens up for you a new imagination about creation and the way that this earth is a living organism that is in relationship to us and that can give to us, but not in a way that we take today, but in other kinds of very intimate and personal ways to keep us alive and healthy and keep us protected from evil and to keep us in the best spirits. Keep us wise and keep us courage. Thanks, Hildegard.